All right, guys, we're with heavyweight prospect Odie Delaney. What are you up to, man? I heard that you had a fight canceled, but
Yeah,
now you got some fight news coming. So what's going on?
yeah, man. It's been kind of common. Unfortunately, we have plenty of backouts. I had Jeremy May September 12th, so we're looking forward to that fight. But he got injured, so that went away. And honestly, Rashawn Jackson, he's kind of another up and comer, and he's been around my area for a long time. And I've wanted to fight him, and I saw him on Facebook, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna let him know that I'm ready. I want to fight him, and he agreed. So we're getting contracts sent out with B2 Strike Hard in Alabama. We're gonna be fighting November 7th. So
Nice, nice. So under what organization?
it's a B2 Strike Hard.
Okay.
Yeah, in Alabama. Yeah. So a guy named Andy Law, he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey man, I got this guy that'll fight you." And I was like, "Who is it?" I'll fight whoever. Because honestly, I'm just looking for anybody who will fight me at the regional level right now. And
Yeah.
because I'm ready for that next stage. And he was like, Rashad Jackson, and he won't back out. I was like, I know Rashad. Yeah, of course I'll fight him. So
Yeah. That's good, man. And
yeah.
what were your feelings when your one original fight was canceled?
Kind of getting used to it, man. like honestly, I'm starting to expect that more than I am expecting them to show up. I'm really ready for the next level. I think I've outgrown the regional scene. I want guys that are professionals that do this for a living that are going to show up. Because I do this for a living. This is what I do. This is my full-time job. I train and I prepare for fights. So I kind of want to fight guys that are on that same level that are doing the same thing. So I'm used to it.
Okay. Is that an American Top Team shirt?
That's right, man. Yeah, that's where I train. American Top Team, Coconut Creek, Florida.
Very
Yeah,
nice. So, how does it feel training with a high level gym as it is?
yeah, I love it, man. I get to train with like the best training partners you could freaking imagine, dude. Like, there's like 10 heavyweights in there that are all, in the top 20, top 10. There's tons of really good guys in there. So I love training where I'm training, and there's a lot of depth. And yeah, I'm getting better every day, getting better quick.
So you're living in Florida at the moment, then, right?
Yeah, I've got an apartment 2 minutes away from American Top Team.
Oh,
Yeah, so
nice. So that's
easy,
not bad at
easy.
all.
Yeah.
And did you how was the move to Coconut Creek? Like, how did your family respond with that?
Man, my wife Savannah, she's awesome. She's 100% behind me. She's 100% behind this fight dream of mine. My core mission, obviously, to spread the word of God, and she's behind that. So it was actually not so bad. We both kind of feel like we have this calling to get a platform to speak to young people, and this was just the necessary step that we needed to take to get closer to that goal to reach more folks. So, no, it actually wasn't that bad at all, man. We got down here, have a nice apartment. We've been very blessed. So yeah, man, and she loves the area. I mean, the Coconut Creek, Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet. Great weather, sunny. So yeah, we like it.
And with that being said, it's kind of nice to kind of see a fighter in the MMA world that's very religious, and obviously you're a fighting Christian. It's kind of nice to see something like that. You don't see too many fighters that I know of that are very devoted into that, which is not a problem. It's just you just don't see that often.
Mhm.
And I guess, like, how do you take yourself? How do you separate yourself from, you're with God, and then you're punching someone in the face?
Yeah, yeah, I get asked that question a lot. I don't view mixed martial arts as like a mean,
Yeah,
scary, violent thing. It's a sport. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, it's not a real fight. It's not a life and death situation. You've got gloves, you've got a ref, you've got rules that protect you. It's a sport like anything else. I mean, I would say football is probably even more dangerous. And
yeah.
Tim Tebow was an outspoken Christian, a guy that I look up to, and I mean he's playing in a very dangerous, violent sport. So I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think that MMA, Christianity, I mean it all works together. It all works together for good. But yeah, there's not a lot of guys that are vocal about it and speak out about their beliefs. I definitely think it's important in a time like right now because the world is so divisive. You know what I mean? Like everybody hates everybody, you know, white, black, Republican, Democrat, and it's just hate is kind of just dominating, you know, our culture right now. And there's got to be a force that's battling against that, and I want to be part of that force, you know.
Well, it's good to hear, man, and I totally agree. It's I think with and you're seeing a lot of you know, I think what we need to do is show that, you know, we don't need hate to consume our lives, and we need to look towards helping each other, and whether that be in your fighting game, training, you know, it's just spread the positivity, because we got enough stuff going on. I mean, I'm from Canada, right? So I mean, the whole stuff going on in the States, that's over there on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, it still affects us. We still watch it. We still consume it. And watching those videos, I think it sends, you know, fights over Facebook. You got cyber warriors on the internet,
Yeah.
in a way like, hey, I'll kick your ass. And it's like, yeah, come on over. You know,
Yeah.
it's you know, it's
I don't get that.
going on.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's good to hear that you're saying that as you are. But anyway, like, I mean, going to the start of your MMA career, you know, you were in criminal justice. So what took you from pursuing that field to MMA? Can you explain how you got started?
Yeah, I developed a panic attack disorder while I was in law enforcement, and that kind of stopped my ability to continue down that path. You know, I've always been the kind of guy that likes to protect people that are weaker than me, defend people that can't defend themselves. That's always been my mindset, and that comes from the Christian side of things, I'm sure, and the way I was raised. But when I couldn't do law enforcement anymore, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know, what skill sets do I have that I can still better the world around me, you know?
Yeah.
A little bit old and fat for the military, you know, out of law enforcement. But I was like, you know, I have an extensive wrestling background. I've dabbled in jiu-jitsu. And, you know, I was just kind of praying, you know, what can I do next? You know, I was like kind of begging God to show me the path. And, man, it was almost as clear as day. He just kind of put that truth in my heart. Like, look, man, like, you do have the skills. I've given you the talent. I've given you the mind and the strength to do this. And I'm not a fighter at heart, honestly. Like I'm more of a lover, man. I like to build people up, and you know, it was kind of against my natural my natural character, you know. But he kind of put it on my heart to do this, so I'm going to pursue it with everything I've got, you know. And it goes a lot deeper for me than money and fame. So I think it's a powerful thing, and I don't think it's going to be stopped because I think it's in his plan. So,
right on, man. I'd like to hear that. It's crazy when you have someone that's very has that different view on things in life. That's great. Like, it's a little bit different for me, but it's really good. I like hearing that kind of stuff. And so just kind of moving on from here, you know, you kind of talked about your MMA, the beginning of how you got into it. So I mean, you got 2 pro finishes. And so what, you know, what's your feelings with that? Do you know, you've talked about you're ready for like that higher level. Is there anywhere, like, let's say in a perfect world, you get an offer from different organizations, where would you like to start out at?
I've given that a lot of thought. I really like the idea of one championship, because honestly, I think that market could use a guy like me. I think I fit in there. I think I fit into their organization as a heavyweight, but also with the message I'm trying to spread. A lot of people on that side of the world are hungry for the word, and I would love to kind of bring that over a little bit. UFC, definitely. I'd love to get in there and be a good example, a good influence. I feel like kind of the honor of mixed martial arts, the honor of martial arts have kind of been killed a little bit, because a lot of the guys that you look up to are, you know, not the best examples of how you should be as a man, you know. And I'd like to even get into the UFC and try to set a good example on that platform as well. Honestly, it really comes down to reaching as many eyes as I can. You know, if I can get a lot of people watching me, a lot of people following, I want young 12-year-old kids, you know, 12-year-old young men that are looking for an athlete to look up to. I want them to be able to see me and be like, okay, you can be a tough guy, but you can, you know, walk with honor and be a righteous dude and have gentleness in your heart and your spirit, you know. And I want to get that out to as many people as possible, you know.
Yeah, man, and I do agree. And I mean, I am a fan of a couple of those guys that, you know, you would probably deem to be the best example, but I definitely I know the kind of path that what you're trying to say, and I think that things do need to settle down a little bit in the UFC. Like I get that people do things to amp up a fight. I know that a
Hmm.
lot of the trash talk, a lot of the things, that's all behind the camera. It's to build a fight. I understand that, but there's some things that the UFC needs to start getting a handle on. That like I know that it got really nuts with the whole McGregor thing with
Yeah.
him throwing the dolly in the bus
Yeah.
and a lot of the antics that he did, and that was just not right. Like,
You know,
uh,
it's crazy. A lot of people I know even stopped watching the UFC just because of the unprofessionalism. You know, it's like other sports I feel like have at least a little bit more accountability. You know, and if you just let fighters get away with whatever they want, you know, in their personal lives, and they just do whatever they want, you know, normal folks, normal family people aren't going to be letting their kids watch your program. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
it hurts them a little bit in the long run, but you know, what do I know?
Well, and the thing is, like, someone who I talked to about it, they mentioned about the whole thing. They were using when Conor McGregor fought Khabib Nurmagomedov, they were viewing him throwing the dolly in the bus as like the as amping up the fight. And I thought like people don't need to see like what that's not necessary to show that. I get that that's how it gets people to tune in. Like, oh wow, now we're gonna want to see Conor get his ass whooped.
Yeah.
But that was not because I think what UFC is trying to do, they're trying to make it more of a spectacle than they're taking a spectacle and turning it into a sport. Understandably, they're trying to draw the views, but that's not healthy for people to watch it. It's like that's just showing like because as fighters, those people look up to you. They want our kids are looking up to you, saying, "Hey, I want to be that kind of guy." Nothing wrong with like you said, MMA is a sport, but if you're going out and if you're showing that, hey kids, yeah, it's okay to go punch someone because now you're an MMA fighter, you are setting an example for those kids and anybody else. Like
Yep.
I've seen these top level guys going on in their own lives say, yeah, I can just go punch someone in the bar because I don't like what they said or they said that I suck at fighting. Well, you can't do that. You have to remain professional. And
Yep.
when organizations start to get a handle on that, that's when things will change. But until then, there's not much that we can do, and that's why it's good to hear that a guy like yourself getting into an organization like that to set an example. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying for sure.
but anyway, I mean, you've been wrestling since you're like 15, 16.
Hmm.
You're NCAA All American. You're a
Yep.
wrestler. So, do you think that assisted you with transitioning into MMA? And second part of that question is, do you find it's easier for a wrestler to transition to MMA, or do you find a striker transition better into MMA?
Yeah. Wrestling was an awesome foundation to come in. And I think it's translating very well. I mean, if you take a guy with high level wrestling skills, honestly, you just have to teach him a couple of submissions and how to defend himself from submissions, you know, in an MMA kind of aspect. And he's going to be all right, especially if he takes it very seriously. And honestly, having a very good wrestling base honestly makes striking come a little bit easier because they're so worried about you taking them down to the ground that they kind of leave their head open, you know, and vice versa. So look at Khabib. You know, he's not the greatest striker in the world, and he almost knocked Conor out because
Yeah.
because he's worried about getting taken down, and that's kind of the way it is. The second part of your question, I think it's definitely easier for a wrestler to get into MMA than a pure striker, and the
Okay.
reason is you can sprinkle on the striking and catch it up over a career, and you'll be all right. But really high level wrestling takes a long time to develop and learn. There's a lot of intangibles. It's not just technique. There's body awareness. You know, there's a lot of just like feeling where your body weight is. I mean, there's just so much kind of to it that you can't take a guy that's a master kickboxer and then in a year him be able to compete with a high level jiu-jitsu or a super high level wrestler. It's just not going to happen. It takes more time than that. So yeah, I guess that would be my opinion on that subject.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And now I read about this about you, but I wasn't sure if it was completely true, what was accurate, what wasn't accurate. But were you in like some kind of like shooting in Charlestown or something? Whatever happened with that?
Yeah, I wasn't in the shooting. So what happened was Dylan Roof went into the AME church right there in Charleston, and he ended up killing. It was an active shooter situation. He ended up killing 9 people.
Yeah.
I was one of the first people in the door, one of the first responders. Me and my buddies were the first group.
That's
Yeah,
great.
and we went through that experience together and did the best we can with that. But yeah, that's actually where the panic attacks stemmed from, was that situation. And I won't get into the gory details, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was part of what started kind of my decline out of law enforcement, you know. But yeah, I was involved in that.
Yeah, and to just kind of touch upon that, not so much the situation, but do you find with the whole policing issue right now that they're having in the States, do you think that is part of it? Because a lot of guys, they don't know when to step away from policing, and then that sometimes can consume you. Like, you get put in the same situations over and over again, and then it just takes one person that you just, you get burnt out from your job, and it just takes that one person to flip you off, and then someone just loses their mind, or like, what do you think is going on with some of these guys?
I think there's a million factors. I mean, there's a ton of factors. I mean, being a cop is hard mentally, physically. It's hard on relationships, your marriage. And yeah, I think maybe there are some guys that, don't get out when they should. But then there's probably a lot of guys that feel like they can't. There's also a huge sense of duty, and there's pride that's involved too. Like when I developed panic attacks, a lot of questions entered my mind. It's like, am I a weak person? Am I just kind of a sissy? Is this why I can't, get through this? And it takes, talking to a professional to find out that getting a panic attack disorder doesn't have anything to do with your mental toughness. Everyone reacts to different things different ways. But yeah, I mean, the whole police civilian interaction in this country, and especially like how the media plays into that.
Yeah.
It's such an in-depth, crazy conversation. We could have a 3-hour dissertation on that stuff. But yeah, man, I'm definitely optimistic. I'm not one of the pessimistic types. I think it will get better. I think we're going to figure this out as a country. We're a bunch of really tough, really smart individuals. We're not going to let this defeat us. I mean, when we come out on the other side of this, we'll be a stronger country and we'll be closer. And yeah, it's going to get better.
Yeah, 100%. And just kind of pulling away from that now. So I guess is it true that you got to train with GDS, or was that just a picture that you got to take?
Oh no, yeah, I get to train with him. I get to train with all those guys. Pizal's fighting tomorrow. I helped him get ready for his fight.
Oh yeah, that's right, he is.
Yep, yeah. I've been training with him for the last couple months. Let's see, Andre Arlovsky, man, dude, I got 1,000 names. I mean, I train with these guys all the time, and that's part of the reason why I feel like I'm ready for the next level, is because I train with really high level guys, and I'm not going to talk about how I do in the room, but I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm ready to go, man. I have a small record. It's hard for me to find fights because of my wrestling credentials and background, but I am a lot better than my record shows, and I'm willing to fight anybody to prove it. So yeah, I'm really happy Rashawn Jackson accepted this fight, and I'm praying to God he shows up, man, because I I need some fights.
Right. And is there anyone that you particularly train with on a daily basis, or do you just train with whoever you have that day? How does that work out?
It's pretty much whoever you have that day. I mean, we have so many high-level fighters that they're all fighting all the time, so they take breaks and whatever else. But I'd say my most consistent is like Steve Mako. He's the head wrestling coach there. Mm-hmm. I try to train with him whenever I can, because I mean, he's just a phenomenal wrestling coach, but also a striking coach and just a good guy overall. Saeed Swoma, he's a up-and-comer. He's a really tough heavyweight that's going to be in the UFC in no time, taking guys out. I train with him quite a bit. I credit him a lot for kind of putting the hands onto my wrestling game. So he's a great guy, and he's going to do very well in his career, and then coaching afterwards for sure. But yeah, man, that's kind of how that goes.
Okay. And so how do you balance your training and family life and social life?
Man, honestly, fighting full time is kind of the best for family life. I get to spend I mean, I'm hurting all the time. I'm tired and I'm beat up, and I've got, busted up legs and arms and everything else. But I do get to spend a lot of time with my wife. So, and my kid, my son, Junior. So, it's actually not very hard to balance. I get up, I go train, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. And then I get the rest of the day with my family. So no, like I said, I've been extremely blessed on the way that I live, and I'm happy about what I'm doing.
Right on, man. And what do you feel you need to do to get into a higher level organization?
Yeah, fights, man. I just need fights. And like I said, it's been so tough. I mean, I've literally called every promoter that I know and have been like, hey, I will fight whoever. And it's just, it's tough. I think a lot of guys, they make the comment that, oh, I want to fight him in the UFC. Like when we get to the later, into a bigger promotion, because it's like, I get what they're saying. It's kind of not worth it to fight me right now for $500, for $1,000.
Right.
You're gonna fight a Division I All-American who's a Citadel Hall of Famer for no money, who's training with the best guys in the world. It's even if you think you can beat me, it's risky. I'm not an easy fight for anybody. Nobody in the world I'm an easy fight. So it's just risky, and it's not a lot of money in it right now. So I get why it's hard, but I've got to do it. I've just got to get fights, and I'm kind of leaving that in God's hand. Everything's on His time, so I'm confident it'll work. No stress here. So.
Right on. And with the weight cutting, obviously with heavyweights, there's not so much the weight cutting involved for the most part. I mean, it's pretty open weight class. Where do you normally like to sit at on fight day? Or sorry, you're cutting your weight.
I don't cut. I'm 265 pounds every day of the week, no matter what. Doesn't matter what I eat. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Every time I get on the scale, that's what it is. So I don't have to cut, and I'm as big as I can be. So it's kind of perfect.
Okay. But when you're preparing for a fight, do you eat a certain diet, like just to help you with the training and just the pre-fight?
Yeah.
What is it?
I kind of eat what I want. I train at a level. I don't train like a heavyweight. Heavyweights in most gyms that I've been to kind of train separately from everybody else because they train slower, they're lazier. They kind of do their own thing. I don't do that. I train just as hard as the lightweights. So, and I'm a big guy, so I need a lot of calories. So I kind of eat what I want to eat. I don't eat trashy. I eat clean, but I eat as much as I want, and I feel great every single day. So yeah, nothing too special, man. Before a fight, a lot of complex carbs, same thing you do for anything, but yeah, man.
Do you have any like pre-fight or post-fights celebrations or traditions that you like to do?
I'm actually developing something. So I kind of stumbled across this on accident, but it seems to work. So, everyone gets nerves. I don't care who you are. You're going to get some nerves, right? That happened in wrestling over 5 years, and I still had nerves, But I figured something out. If you plan like a hunting trip or like something that's even a little bit more scary than fighting right around the time you fight, it kind of distracts you a lot, So like my Jeremy May fight, I was supposed to fight him. I scheduled a hunting trip in Alaska, and I'm like terrified of bears. So, like every time I had something to think about, I'd be thinking and worrying about that Alaska trip, not my fight. So I think one of my rituals from now on is going to be every time I have a fight scheduled, I'm going to like schedule some skydiving, schedule some bungee jumping, zip line. I'm going to do something a little bit even scarier just right around that same time. It seems to be a really good way to distract your mind. So
Right on. And what do you after your fights, is there anything that you like to do right after your fight? Is there anything that you like? Do you like to go out and eat, party with people? What do you normally?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest partier, but definitely going out to eat. Yeah, me and my family have a long tradition of just winning wrestling tournaments and then going and having a great meal and just hanging out as a family. And that's kind of what I live for. I live for family time. Spending time with my son too, and he's 2 years old. And just experiencing the whole world right now and talking a lot. So I just want to be around him like all the time because it's just so much fun. So yeah, that's kind of my deal. So like at November 7th when I fight him, after the win, I'm definitely going to go out and just get like a big fat burger and some French fries.
There you go. And you have your upcoming fight, and when you do win, is there anyone that you are? I don't mean to look. I wouldn't ask anybody. I wouldn't ask any fighter to look past the person that they're gonna fight. But let's say that you come off with a win, is there anyone that you're looking towards, or anyone that you have in mind after this?
Not really specifically. Honestly, after this win, I hope that I get into a bigger promotion.
Okay.
I think I can beat anybody in the one championship roster. I really do. I mean, people might think that's a little bit crazy because of how small my record is, but people are going to find out real quick when this ball gets rolling how good I actually am. So yeah, no one in specific I want to call out. I guess I want to call out these promotions. Like, hey, I'm over here. I'm training at American Top Team every single day, full time. I'm ready to go. Like, I don't know what the holdup is. I've got a lot of people that really love me that are behind what I'm doing that'll pay to watch me fight. Yeah, man, it's time to get me in there. I think I've got a good story and a good message, and I think I'm marketable. So I don't know who their scout is, but they need to fire him and get another one because, I mean, they're missing out on a gem here. I'm just sitting here waiting to go. So that's who I'm calling out. One championship, UFC, PFL, Bellator, all of them.
Well, guys, I think you guys need to sign the bad lad. Come on, let's sign him. Let's get it going. You guys already know. So
that's it.
You guys already know who's the up and comer here. And I mean, like, I'm excited to see where your career is taking off. I love talking to up and coming guys because I love to see their growth and progression in their career, and I love to see where they're going to go. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you're gonna end up in the next couple of years. I wish nothing but the best for you, and I wanted to thank you for coming on my podcast here. I know didn't have a whole lot of time, but I think we figured out everything, and thank you so much.
Yeah, I really appreciate you, man. That was really good. Good job. Thank you. And yeah, we're going to talk again, dude. I'm here to stay. So after another couple wins, we'll be talking again.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on, man.
All right, buddy.
All right. Take care, Odie.
Cool. You too, man. Thank you.